Chrissie Hynde wrote the song "My City Was Gone," but actually my high school is gone. St. Vincent's was torn down to make way for a new community center, but if you're old enough, you remember where you were on November 22nd, 1963. I was right here on the third floor in English class when we got news over the PA system that John F. Kennedy had been assassinated. It was a shock to the world, and certainly to a Catholic school who had so much affection for the Kennedys. When I went to St. Vincent High School, I thought that band was going to be my future. I was president of the band. It was my first real leadership position, and I thought that I would someday become a high school band director. Colby Hall used to have a giant arch right in the center. And in the summer of 1965, I joined the summer band right out of high school, thinking that I would be the next great band director. But I took one look at the radio station that was located in Colby Hall and knew that I had sort of found the place where I wanted to be for a while. I became the general manager of WAUP radio station. When I started there, we were broadcasting 4 hours a day when school was in session, and by the time I was a senior and manager of the station, we were broadcasting every day of the year for 12 hours a day, including doing sports games. I learned a lot here. It was the time of the Vietnam War, and a lot of my fraternity brothers were flunking out and going right overseas to be in the war. So most of us kept our grades up. We sought our draft deferments, and it became an era of real passion. I remember being here in the summer of 1968, loading big 2-inch videotapes on reel-to-reel machines for student classes, and watching the Democratic National Convention, watching the violence that was taking place in the streets of Chicago. And all of us were motivated to try to create a better world. After spending a year in Syracuse, I returned to WHLO Radio, and one of the first stories I did was a murder case. I was there the night that they captured him up here on Exchange Street, and then covered the trial here in the Summit County Courthouse. Later, I covered the Carl Lamont Bayless murder trial, a very sensational case, and visited with him on death row, and that documentary on death row won a National Associated Press Award. But the law interested me, so I was going to law school at night while I was doing the radio job during the day, and trying to do stories about legal subjects. My documentary on Inside the Grand Jury won a National Silver Gavel from the American Bar Association, and it was really reaffirming for me that I had struggled with whether or not to return to Akron or not. Maybe New York or Los Angeles or Chicago, a larger market, would have been better to do the work I wanted to do. But you can do great things in Akron, and winning this award reaffirmed that for me. I then ended up practicing law for 25 years in this same courthouse, and it was for those 25 years the way I made my living. It was the way I made my living for 25 years across the street, but it wasn't my life. I became president of the Summit County Historical Society and got involved in the Akron Community Foundation. And then in 1987, when Ned Oldham returned to Akron following a meeting of patent lawyers in Washington at the National Inventors Hall of Fame, he had this idea that maybe it could be relocated to Akron. We were really down on our heels in 1987, and what Akron really needed was a shot in the arm, and that shot in the arm came in the form of Don Plasqualik's election as mayor in 1987, and that same year, 11 months later, allowing us to become the home of the National Inventors Hall of Fame. We never did realize all the promise that we had hoped at that point, but boy, we sure did get a great substitute. Here at the National Inventors Hall of Fame STEM School, it's so exciting to see what they're doing inside. It changed Akron. It gave people something to think about. When we were named the site of the Inventors Hall of Fame, that's what launched the construction of the John S. Knight Convention Center. It was the beginning of the renaissance of downtown Akron and the city at large.